Hey everybody, this is Valerie Smith from Writer Now Magazine. I'm a publisher, been doing this magazine for 10 years, and we are charity and benefit driven. And what we want to do is feature people in the world and how everything that's happening in the world right now has affected their lives and what they're doing about it. And we're trying to reach out and touch people. And we also want to give you some encouragement. Now, today I have a phenomenal guest, Bobby Friss. Everybody that knows anything about rock and roll knows about Bobby Friss. And hey, we got him on the show, and we just want to know what's going on with him, and he's got a new song. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, Val, how are you?
Pretty good. How's it going for you up there?
It's going as well as we all can survive, I think, but we're doing fine. You know what? I tell my kids this and my friends that when you start lamenting about the problems that we're all having is, we're very fortunate. My generation did not have to go to war, and we didn't have to go through gigantic depressions, and so we've been pretty blessed to this point. So do I like the situation that we're in? I do not, and I feel terrible for people who are hit way harder than I am, but I also know that we've had a pretty good run, and so we just make the best of it, I guess, right?
Right, exactly. Well, I know with you, now you normally are booked all year. I mean, you always play Leesburg. I mean, you always play Gator Harley-Davidson, and all of a sudden, it's gone. I mean, we're always out there at the events, and we don't know what to do with ourselves. You can only fight with the old lady or the old man so long. I mean, I'm debating on how much time I would have to do for murder. So how's it on the home front for you?
It has been, I just got to say, it's kind of been a blessing. My kids are all, adults, 27, 25, and 21. And two of them are back. My 27-year-old daughter lived in New York City, so she got out of there in a hurry for sure.
Wonderful.
And my 21-year-old son is a student at Michigan State University, so they're shut down with online classes.
Right.
So four of us are kind of cohabitating, and it's really interesting because when you have kids, especially when they're adults, and you see them, you kind of get those quick, how you doing? What you up to? Do you need any money? Those kind of conversations, right? But
right.
When we're all kind of stuck together, you kind of have these longer conversations that are very cool about, what their thoughts are and who they are as people. So
right.
I consider it something that I've gotten that maybe I wouldn't have gotten. So that's a positive for sure.
There you go. It's so funny. Years ago, my daughter and I were going through the airport in Nashville, and it was back when I first met you, when I was like, this big around and looked like a country music star. And she looked at me, and people were staring at us. And I said, my God, Jess, is something showing? She said, Mom, no, they think you're somebody. And I looked at her and I said, I am. I'm your mama. And that's the biggest and best job I can have. But do your kids think you're a rock star? Do they look at you like that?
It's been really cool because when I moved back to Michigan in 1995, my daughters were just 3 and 1.5, and I made a kind of a pact with myself that I would do all of my shows away from Michigan. And I just did that because I wanted them to grow up knowing me as dad, coach, the mixer of the sound for their plays. I was the only dad that would go in and read, during the day because I had a daytime schedule during the day where I would be just working on the weekends or whatever. So it was great. And I kind of have kept that. So like people in Michigan really don't know me or my band. I'm kind of unknown up here.
Well, your band comes from everywhere, right?
Well, the band. Right. The band is really, we based out of Florida, but when I moved from Florida up here, I kind of kept it separate. So my kids, up until they were probably, I'm going to say 16, 17, hadn't seen the band. I mean, they just knew I went away and played music and whatnot. So then once they got it, then they love it now. It's very cool. And they come to shows, and my daughter, who's a singer, also has been on stage with me in Milwaukee in front of about 15,000 people. So it's been fun to include them after they figured out that, I'm dad first, and that's just kind of a persona that I go out and make a living with. So.
Yeah, that is so cool. And can you tell me why the Children's Home Network is so close to your heart?
Before I had kids, I started doing it in 1984, and it was just something that I kind of grasped onto. It was a spot that I could take my celebrity and make some money for a cause that was near and dear to my heart. And the kids that were out there, I just loved going out and hanging out with them and talking to them and seeing that they're great kids that just got a real bad break with a family situation or
Right.
drug dependency or something. And
Right.
I was like, man, if I can make a little money and keep this place afloat, so that's kind of how I grasped onto it.
Now, for those of you that don't know, in December, Bobby does a charity event, and the last 2 years, thank you, Jesus, we've been blessed to be involved, and it's at Quaker Steak and Lube in Clearwater, and you raised 20 grand the first year we helped you, and then the next year you raised 21 grand. I mean,
That's right.
So in December, we're shooting for 22, right?
That would be great. I went into it with the idea that if we made anything, I would be happy, and
Sure.
we exceeded the number. People were just so generous. We did a lot of people really helped out on the GoFundMe site, which back in the day that wasn't available.
Right.
So that's a big plus to be able to, if somebody is in Wisconsin or Laconia or Galveston and they're fans of the band and want to donate to the cause, they could do it and still be part of it.
That's wonderful. Now, last week on our show, we had Steve Chamberlin, and he and I were
Nice.
sitting here talking about Bobby Friss and talking about how great it was that you came up and helped raise money for his 50 legs. So,
That was-
and my point here is that we focus on people that care about other people, and you know what? You won that top award.
Well, thank you. And I thank you for inviting me. And just in full disclosure for that, I get the pluses of going out there and donating my time and sitting in with the band. But you stepped up and did all the arranging and the publicity for that show. And you even got me a hotel room, which you didn't have to do. So I appreciate that. And that was a super great event to be part of with Steve.
Well, I'll always tell people, because we're charity and benefit driven, I'm good to people, and I want them to be good to me. And you have always surpassed, when I said, hey, can we do this or that? You even let me get up and be your backup singer for $100 for your
That's right.
charity. Remember that at
That's
Quaker?
right.
And
You
I
didn't
gave you
want
another
that.
100, so you let me get back down. And then
No, that
when
was
I
a great
pulled
night.
that on you when we were at Scooter Haven, you forgot.
Oh.
I think you forgot I was supposed to be your Hummer.
That's all good. It's all good. You can pop up anytime.
And there you go again. And I gave that charity $100. And to tell you a funny story, I went on Facebook to do Redneck Karaoke Ford F-150 truck karaoke singing. And I said, okay, now you guys, we got to pick you up, lift you up. There's a lot going on right now, and we want you to be happy and be better. And we're going to do some karaoke. And it cut me off. And I'm thinking, Facebook probably thinks somebody was strangling a cat.
That could be. That could be.
be.
I've had those nights too. Believe me, Val. People are like, "What's going on with Bobby's voice tonight?" Well, I think it's because he sang 9 nights in a row. That's what happened.
There you go. Well, I'm an old gospel singer, though, and it's hard for me not to end with the gospel song. I'm sorry. But anyway, what we want to do now, we want to play the song that you wrote. Well, first of all, tell me why you wrote it.
Well, like everyone else, I'm in this uncharted territory that we're all trying to figure out. Not only how did we get here, but how do we get out of it? And I'm doing what everybody else is doing, just home with my family and taking a walk with the dogs every day and just trying to clear my head. And the song just kind of came to me on the walk. It was just, I said, I'd like to do a song about this, but not have it be a bummer or preachy
Right.
about, we're all in this bad situation. I'd rather look at it like, we're going to be okay. I mean, we've faced some pretty tough things in our country, and we're pretty smart here in the United States of America. We figure a way out. It might not always be the quickest or the easiest path, but we do a pretty good job. So that was kind of my whole point. And literally, it's one of those songs that I kind of got the chorus, walking the dogs. I came back and messed around with it on acoustic guitar. That night, I put a drum machine down on my I've got just GarageBand on my Mac, which I'm talking to here, and put a drum machine down. I started laying some things. I put a scratch vocal down and just started building tracks. And before I knew it, like in 2 days, I had the song. Wow. So I said, well, what would be a cool way of, presenting it and have people acknowledge the fact that, we can't wait for the good times to start again, which is basically the premise of the song. And I said, I should just put pictures of our crowds and people that come to our shows and smiles and just good times. So I went back and grabbed every picture I could on sites. I don't even have a Facebook site. So I stole pictures from wherever I could find them and put a slideshow together to go along with the music. Yep. And released it like that. And the support, just the unbelievable, just positives of people saying, thank you, this is so great. And then I started thinking, well, this is going to be heard by a lot of people. I thought it'd be heard by, 500 or 600 of our fans and be done with it. And I say fans, but I really mean friends. Right. And I said, I'd really rather this sounds a little better than it does, because literally I recorded it in about 2 days on my computer. Right. So I sent the tracks individually to Jim Morris, my friend at Morris Sound Studios in Tampa, and he went in and remixed it and had Leroy, my drummer, come in and play real drums to it. So he played to the tracks and just kind of made it sound as good as it could. It's certainly not sonically anywhere near what I would put out as a CD, but it's close. And so now that's what it is. So if you go to YouTube and just put up a little piece of light or Bobby Friss, it'll pop up. And it's been really fun to get the positives back from people.
Well, I got a great surprise for you, because we're going to show it right now.
Oh, sweet.
We're going to show it. Let's let everybody see it.
Sunshine coming round the bend. Yes, I'm on my way. It's time to fill your glass. Goodbye, yesterday, because this too shall pass. Close your eyes, it's alright. I'm with you in this fight. Look inside, you will find a little piece of life. I remember laughing not so long ago, walking hand in hand with the social distance of an enemy. Tell me where to stand. In a state of constant confusion, should I stay or go? Reaching for an imaginary finish line, a marathon I know. Yes, I'm on my way. It's time to fill your glass. Goodbye, yesterday, because this too shall pass. Close your eyes, it's alright.
And I love how you ended that, Bobby. I love that statement above the crowd. I love how you ended it. Tell me about some of those people that are in that video scatter or picture scatter.
It was so fun putting that together because, like I said, I don't do Facebook. I'm not a social media guy, and I've just done that for privacy of myself and my family. I don't want people to be able to say anything pro or con, to me. If they want to do it in a public forum, that's fine, but I'm not going to open up myself to that. So,
Right.
But so I had to go around and kind of grab pictures from different sites. So I just kind of wanted to grab pieces of like every place. There's Galveston, Texas in there. There's Daytona. There's Laconia. There's lots of Wisconsin shows, and then individual people who come out and have a great time and support the band, and families and veterans that we've hosted, and sponsors. John from Gator Harley Davidson is there, and Fran Tosh is there, of course. And these are the people that keep me on the road. I mean, people don't realize the fact that I fly to all these events, and I have to fly my guys to all these events, and we get hotel rooms at every one of these places, and I get crew members, and we rent gear, and we rent rental cars. And so it might look like, hey, they're flying all over the world and making all this money at these shows, but it disappears pretty quickly, as you know.
Right, yeah. Kenny Wilkerson, I just had him on my first show, and I said, are you in it for the money? And he said, oh, no. He's Nova Rex. He said, and he knows you. He said,
Right.
No, I sure didn't do it for the money. If I had a regular job, I have an income,
Right, right.
But now you mentioned something to me before about building a house. What is that about? You built a house for someone?
Well, what we did is we got involved with a veterans association up in Wisconsin. It's a national one, but I asked them, I said, I'm playing at the Wisconsin State Fair for all these dates, and I'd like to host veterans and their families to come see the show, buy them dinner, some beers, get them on stage, acknowledge them if they want to. And it was great. We had all these vets and their families come up and just had a ball with them. But the main thing was the families that they brought, the 5 or 6 of them were all finalists for getting a house built for them.
Wow.
For one of these free houses. Builder up in Wisconsin had volunteered the house and stuff. So that was exciting to have them. And one of the groups that we had up there, his family was the one that got picked. So pretty darn exciting to be part of it. Wow,
that is wonderful. I honestly believe in my heart from my old Southern upbringing that you reap what you sow. And I'm an example of that. And I really think you two are. You are as well. So, and I'm looking really forward to December when everything gets back cranking again, sooner than December, but us
Right.
planning on doing something together for the Children's Home Network. It's
Yep.
fun for me because I get away from the family and I, can hang with the rock star. And, but, I live on the other coast too, so it's 3
Right.
hours one way for me to get to you.
Right.
But
I
I got
appreciate
your back.
you coming over.
We'll step up and do the cover again if we have a magazine. We're not sure. We're
Right.
hoping we will because we're putting them out there now. And this issue is, if I can get a hold of it, is the one that we gave everybody a free ad in. Everybody.
Wow.
And I love you, and I'm going to give you whatever you need. I will always give you your page in this magazine because I love you with all my heart. Here you go. But anyway, I can't be that nice to everybody. And this month, April and May, we did. We really stepped up because, nobody wants to buy an ad if they can't buy food, But I said I wasn't going to talk about
Right.
this too much because it's too depressing, and all I know for sure is that it's going to get better. And do you have any finishing words? We got like 5 minutes. Tell me what's planned for your future.
Yeah, I have kind of prepared myself for the worst as far as jobs, as far as concerts. And the only reason I'm saying that, I'm an optimist for sure.
Right.
But I'm also a realist, and we might start opening things slowly and safely, and I implore people to be safe out there.
Right.
It's like if we jump the gun on this, we're going to take a step backwards. I'm not one of these guys that buys into every theory that the world is ending, but I'm also, I consider myself a common sense guy,
right.
and I want to listen to scientists and educated people to tell me what their opinions are on this, and then I'll make my assessment from that.
Exactly.
But I'm not going to just say, hey, my rights are to be out there and do whatever the heck I want to do, and not think about the consequences, because that's not what America's about, I don't think.
Right.
I think, those kids that went over to Vietnam and Korea and World War II and World War I, and Afghanistan, they weren't thinking about themselves. They were thinking about what our country needed. Right. So I want to follow their direction and go, what our country needs right now is to get ourselves back to square one and be safe, right. Especially for our elderly. It's like, many of us are probably going to be fine. I've seen some reports that 90% of us, if we get this, it's going to be fine. We're going to have some side effects, and God help us if something does happen, that we would be okay. The underlying people are the people that might have some pre-existing conditions that might put them in despair or
right.
elderly. And I'm like, well, if you have a grandfather, you want him to be around as long as he can be around. Right. And so just to say, well, he's in the top percent, this is part of it, I don't think that's fair either. So right. It's a tricky slope. And so to get back on my jobs, I kind of prepared myself for the fact that we probably won't play a show this year, but I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that something turns around, and in the fall, things are opened up to the point where, maybe we're able to get out there and play some sort of outside events where there's enough room for people to disperse and still have a good time. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Right. Well, and I really feel in my heart, there are events that are going to be happening here the end of May. I mean, they're Florida is where everybody goes to vacation. We all on vacation down here, and I don't know why it is that people have just felt like, I can't be stuck in my house. I'm in the beautiful Sunshine State, and let's go. And, they really are. They're going to get stuff going. And, being in this industry, I'm happy, but I'm like you. I'm a realist. I'm not an alarmist. I'm a realist. And, I got grandchildren, and my little granddaughter and son are way more important to me than I am to me. And I just hope that we all use common sense. And I'm looking forward to being out there with you again. I'm looking forward to you helping me with the charity as I help you. And I'm so proud of you for writing this song, because it really hit the nail on the head. It really did. And that you have engulfed the whole scene of people that are facing this right now. I mean, there they are. I mean, there's your audience and our nation. I mean,
my thought for that chorus was, close your eyes, it's all right. I'm with you in this fight. Look inside, we'll find a little piece of light. And it's that's kind of just an optimistic point of view of like, hang in there. I mean, this sucks for everybody. It really does. I mean, and I feel so badly for people that go paycheck to paycheck and are trying to figure out how to do it. I'm fortunate that I can kind of hang in there, right. But and the people on the front lines, God bless you guys, because you're talk about stress. They're out there every day, dealing with the real issue of being sick and people dying, and them having to hold people's hands and.
Right, exactly.
Thank you so much.
Well, Bobby, I really appreciate you so much coming on with me you're in the cold north, right? Michigan? Is that
yeah, but it's not. It's. I played golf yesterday. It's.
Oh, geez.
So it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Well, listen, darling, we got to wrap up. Thank you so much. I love you with all my heart, and I love that you love everybody else. Guys, stay tuned, because we got more people coming up.
Thank you very
much. Thank you for watching the show. Bye, Bobby. Yep. Love you.